So, my wife and I met in high school. We started dating, fell hard, and then we both went off to college. And my wife and I met in high school. We started dating, fell hard, but then we both went off to different colleges. And, throughout that time, we just made it work. Long distance, the whole thing for 4 years. And that's a lot of trust and a lot of really long phone calls where you're both trying to pretend maybe you're not upset about something. A whole lot of figuring out who you are as a person while simultaneously trying to be a good partner. We pulled it off though, and honestly, looking back, I think maybe we were a little too proud of ourselves for that. Like, we'd already passed some of the bigger tests in life. So we finished college, we finally move in together, and pretty much immediately, life starts making decisions for us. She had to finish another degree, which meant somebody had to pump the brakes on their career, and I'm the one that did that. I put my professional stuff on hold so she could do what she needed to do. And I want to be careful here because I'm not saying that to paint myself as like a martyr. I made the choice, but I also want to be honest and say that choices like that don't just disappear. They go somewhere, they sit in a drawer, and you probably forget about them until the drawer flies open at exactly the wrong moment. Because here's what's happened next. Once she finished, I basically overcorrected the situation. I had this career dream I'd been sitting on, and I just went for it. And the problem wasn't my ambition. The problem was that I wasn't ready to be a real partner, like fully show up every day, committed, that sort of guy. And she could feel it, even if neither of us had the language for it at the time. So we kind of fell apart. Took about a year off from each other, and that year was honestly one of the loneliest and most clarifying years of my life, because when you think the space is going to feel like freedom, it just mostly feels like you've been walking around with a missing piece. So eventually we got back together, then we immediately got married, started a family, had our first kid, and it was hard and beautiful and exhausting, just the way everybody tells you it's going to be. But we were good. We were really good. Then we had our second kid, and our youngest had some health stuff early on, nothing like catastrophic, but the kind of thing that makes you think and changes you. And then we relocated. A new place, a new situation, and it was not something that I was fully on board with, but I went along with it anyway. And I think I told myself at the time that I was being a team player, but I guess there's a difference between being a team player and just sort of silently swallowing something that bothers you and expecting no interest to accumulate. I guess resentment doesn't announce itself, it just kind of moves in. So, now at this time, we're in a new place, we're both stressed, the relationship is getting really rocky, and my wife starts doing what maybe a lot of people do. She goes looking for answers. Podcasts, Instagram, YouTube, the whole thing. And I want to be clear here. I completely understand why she did that. She's trying to fix something. She wanted tools. She wanted to feel less alone in what we were going through. But here's where it got really complicated for me personally. A lot of that content just didn't land for me. And I don't mean like I'm too cool for self-help. I mean, I'm trying to engage, and there's something about the way all of this is being delivered that triggers me and makes me want to leave the room. The vibe of it, the language, the framing, something about it just made me shut down instead of open up. And so what was I supposed to be, this shared resource? And so what was supposed to be this shared resource for us to grow together kind of became this thing that was pulling us in different directions, and the gap just got bigger. Eventually, we hit a point where we had to just look at each other and say, all right, if we're going to make this work, we have to be on the same team. Not necessarily performing teamwork, doing it. And one of the things we figured out is that we might not always be able to use the exact same map to get to the same place. She has stuff that speaks to her, that's real, and it's valid, and I don't want to knock any of it, at least not anymore. But I need something that speaks to me, and apparently that doesn't fully exist yet. So here I am making the thing. This channel is me working all this out loud. The long-term relationship stuff, the growing together without losing yourself stuff, the we've been through a lot and we're still standing, but we can't just coast stuff. And I'm doing my best to do it in a way that feels like how I might actually talk, because if I put on some kind of expert hat, the whole thing falls apart. I don't have it all figured out, but I'm working on it, and I pretty much figured maybe some other people want to work on it together.